there, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel and League One coverer, and welcome to this DRFC Transfer Reports. Now, of course, all these stories in this video are the fallout of our 3-2 defeat in the EFL Cup Round 1 to Blackburn Rovers. Now, before I go on about the stories, which is talking about the absence of Ben Whiteman and why, because there's a lot of concern about that. Is he going to another club? Was he out for a specific reason? I'll explain more about that in a little bit. We're also going to be talking about Darren Moore's press conference reaction and talk about my thoughts on his reaction to the defeat, and also speak about Andy Butler's future on trial, as well as the future of some of the other trialists that are still there right now. But I think I need to start this video off with a little bit of an explanation as to why I was particularly harsh on a few players in my review. Now, you know, if you've seen, by the way, the success of that video has gone through the roof, so thank you very much for nearly, I think we're nearly halfway to 1,000 views on that video alone, the review from yesterday. And you know, I was particularly harsh on players like Magic Gomez. I think I was harsh on the centre-backs a little bit. I just, you know, that competition, I think that was probably one of our, you know, better chances, as well as the EFL trophy and maybe have a good shot at the FA Cup. That was one of our best chances to get close to silverware. And I think I was just particularly mad because, you know, second year in a row we didn't get past the first round, and you know, it angers me. It angers me, especially with, you know, EFL scheduling. I mean, they scheduled it yesterday on August 29th because Blackburn had players for international call-ups on September 5th. So doesn't mean that we have to suffer in our schedule just because, you know, Blackburn want their first team players out for August 29th. I'm not using it as an excuse, but Jesus Christ, you know, if we had to play a game, if there was a game scheduled for September 5th, and we needed our first team players back, you know, we wouldn't, you know, cry to the EFL and say, oh, can you schedule it a bit earlier and ruin their pre-season schedule because, you know, we need international players, you know, ready for that game, and then we can have the full weekend to just relax. We wouldn't do that. But because Blackburn's the higher league side, they were like, yeah, we'll do it for you. And I'm really mad about that. I'm mad about that, first of all, the fact that it was on August 29th rather than September 5th because Blackburn had international call-ups. And yet again, I'm not using that as an excuse to why we lost. You know, we made mistakes that led to the goals. Fair enough. But I will flip it on a positive. And to be fair, people were messaging me and alluding me to the facts about this. We still gave a good run out. You know, I didn't allude it too much in the video because I was still pretty angry that we went out in the first round second year in a row. But I will highlight the fact, and it's like an extension to yesterday's review. We did do well. We did do well again against a mid-table to playoff championship side, to lose 3-2 and actually challenge. We just ran out of legs. I think that was one of the main reasons why we lost the lead 2-1 to 3-2, because we ran out of legs. We came out firing in the second half, and I said this in the review, we came out firing in the second half and we just didn't bounce back. We didn't keep our defensive shape, and then we gave away a silly foul in the box for the penalty that won them the game. So and like I said, I was particularly harsh on players like Magic Gomez. People messaging me saying Magic Gomez didn't actually do that badly. And to be fair, I replied to someone in the comment section of a video about Magic Gomez, and I said, you know, I'll defend him and I'll say he's not a holding midfielder, but this is where we need squad depth. We need a new holding midfielder so that Gomez, Williams and Richards can apply competition for Coppinger, because there was times in that game where I would play Williams, Richards or Gomez ahead of Coppinger in the cam position. And, you know, Gomez isn't a holding midfielder, he's an attacking midfielder. So, you know, that's where I will defend Gomez. But there were times where his passing was poor. He lost the ball a few times. There were players that lost the ball more times, you know, in several occasions than Gomez did. But he still lost the ball a few times, and you still don't do that. And yes, it was a run-out game, but, you know, I still want to point out that he lost the ball a few times and he made passing mistakes, and that Gomez, you know, didn't have the best game in the world, but I'll defend him and say he's not a holding midfielder. So we do need improvement in those positions, and that's where we need squad depth involved. So, you know, the players that I criticised in yesterday's video, like Gomez, I criticised Lakilo a bit, the centre-backs a little bit. The centre-backs, to be fair, they did do a good job. They did do a decent job, and I said that. I said they had a good game. There was just little mistakes here and there that maybe they could have done a little bit better on, but overall they had a decent game. And, I will say they had a good game, but, there's things in training that we do need to improve for the next game against Man United's under-21s for a friendly on September 1st. And then, of course, September 8th, we've got the EFL Trophy beginning group stage match, hosting Bradford. And then we've got the first league game of the season against MK Dons. That's when the work starts. Yes, it was a competitive match, but we do need to improve. And it's all about improving ready for the start of the season, and that's where the real work starts. Yes, it was a competitive game yesterday, but the league is where it really starts, and that's where it really counts, because points in August are just as important as points in May. So, we do need to come out firing off the blocks. We do need squad depth before the start of the season, and I think we do need 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 more signings, whether it's loans, transfers, I don't give a toss. We do need more signings. So that I just wanted to just explain why I was a little bit harsh. It was because it was a cup match. I wanted to get past the first round compared to last year, and I was a little bit angry about that. So, I think that sort of added to the fire a bit in that video. So that's just me explaining myself. But let's go on about the stories then in this transfer reports. Let's start off with Darren Moore's press conference reaction to the defeat. So according to the Free Press, Darren Moore felt a combination of fitness and sharpness was the telling factor in Rovers' defeat to Blackburn Rovers. Rovers came from behind to lead in the Carabao Cup tie at Ewood Park, but saw the game turn on its head in the latter stages to lose 3-2. With Blackburn having completed the final 9 games of the last championship season a month ago, Moore predicted the host would have greater fitness and coherency than his side would be without competitive action for almost 6 months. And it provided to be, with Blackburn dominating the first half and then having the legs to grab the decisive goals in the latter stages. Now, Moore said there were certain things I saw when the boys are fit and firing, and the sharpness is there that we'll be better at. They'll have a lot to take out of today's game, or yesterday's game, and matching a great team, Blackburn Rovers. We came here and set our stall out, and I'm relatively pleased with what I saw. In the end, I felt we just ran out of legs in terms of where we are. We always knew in the last 20 minutes it was going to be a really tough battle, and I think if we'd been able to hold on to the lead for another 5 minutes, then we'd get our shape defensively and make it harder for them. I've got no complaints with it. I just think we lost the game because we're not quite ready and where we should be. Rovers were much improved in the second half, and Moore said the message at the break had been to take opportunities to establish possession. We knew we'd get opportunities for us to get the foot on the ball and for us to start working on our patterns. We went through a strong spell that scored the goals to give us a lift. We had 1 or 2 half chances where we could have been more clinical, but I'm not going to complain because it's just where we are. So that was Darren Moore's reaction to the defeat yesterday. Of course, it said today's game because it was released on the day after the game had finished. And I agree with that. And to be fair, I will say it again. I think that the fitness could have been there, and I think all of us Rovers fans were thinking, well, I think if we'd have scored 1 more, then I think, and then had those few minutes to score a goal and another one, and then regain our defensive shape, then maybe we could have walked away there with a victory. But in the end, I think it was just match fitness. But I put it down again. I put it down to the EFL for the fixtures and the scheduling of the fixtures. We had to cancel a pre-season friendly, and we would have been playing a pre-season friendly on that day if it weren't for the EFL keeping it as an August 29th fixture instead of a September 5th one, because Blackburn had players on international duties on that weekend. So what? Just because a team's higher up in the leagues than we are doesn't mean they get different rights to other teams. It's ridiculous, and I do blame the EFL for that. And to be fair, Darren Moore's come out and said exactly what probably most of us are thinking. In the end, we didn't have the legs for it. And you know what? Fair enough. That's true. And Blackburn, it was clear, in the first half and then in the latter stage of the second half, it was so clear that Blackburn had more possession, they had more fitness, they had more, knack for getting in front. They knew they were fighting a battle, And, like I said at the beginning of this video, to come out 3-2 defeat to a mid-table to playoff championship team like Blackburn, I would say, despite the result, and despite me being angry in the last video that we lost and came out in the first round for the second year in a row, I would still say it was a great match. And we gave Blackburn a battle. We weren't, going to be this walkover team that was going to get steamrolled 4-5-0. We actually showed, with the scheduling, with the mad scheduling we've had over the last couple of months, we actually showed some kahunas, as Troy Deeney would say. We showed some kahunas, and we showed some knack for battling ahead. And, hopefully, like the draw against Derby in the pre-season, we can take those kind of results against these championship teams, and we can push on ahead, and we can get, through. We can get through there. So, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Comment down below. I need to do that explanation at the start of the video, but, what's your thoughts to Darren Moore's reaction? I think Darren Moore's exactly right. I think it was just legs in the end and stamina, and, we're not exactly where we need to be, but part of that reason is down to the EFL's stupid scheduling just because Blackburn needed some of their international call-ups back before the international weekend break in September 5th and 6th, just because they were in a higher league than us and they had these international call-ups in September, at the start of September, they said, oh, we'll just forget about Donny's pre-season game, we'll play it on that day instead. I blame the EFL for part of that, so comment down below your thoughts on that as well. Should the game have been played on September 5th or 6th, despite Blackburn's call-ups, should it have gone ahead to make it fair? Leave your comments down below. But let's go on about an article by the Yorkshire Post now to talk about Darren Moore's reaction to where is Ben Whiteman, and he actually explains what's happened with Ben Whiteman. So the Yorkshire Post has written that the manager Darren Moore has reiterated that the club will not cash in on our star asset Ben Whiteman unless their valuation is met by a rival side. The Rovers captain sat out Saturday's 3-2 Carabao Cup loss against Blackburn Rovers as a precaution, with the midfielder suffering from a slight injury. Whiteman, who had been the subject of failed bids from Rovers, South Yorkshire rivals Barnsley, and had other interest from Championship clubs including Blackburn, was present at Ewood Park for the game. Now, Moore said he was here today, but I could not take the risk. Hopefully he will get back in with us next week and kick on again. There is interest in him, but he's still contacted to us. We admire him a lot, we value him a lot, and he's with us and has a valuation on his head. And if the valuation is not met, then he carries on as normal. Credit to him, he understands it, and we keep working. Rovers were edged out in an entertaining encounter in the Lancashire for their first competitive match for 175 days since March the 7th. Now, of course, Blackburn produced that strong response in the last 20 minutes with the goals, and Moore said, he said to the boys, listen, make no mistake, I am disappointed to lose the game, but if you're ever going to lose a game, then it's certainly the right way. I put that result down to simply where we are at this current stage, and credit to the boys for the shift they put in. We wanted to put in a display today, and in terms of where we're at, they've done tremendous work, and there is more work to go. So there we go, that is talking about Ben Whiteman's absence. There was a lot of rumours going around saying, oh, he's not in the squad, is he going to go? Is he not playing against Blackburn because it's tactical that the Blackburn bid might get on his head and things like that? No. Just no. It doesn't matter whether it's Blackburn or Barnsley or any club, he's not going anywhere for now. He's not going anywhere, period. He's not going anywhere. Do not worry. He's one of our star players, and Moore highly rates the guy, and the fact that he understands that and keeps working with the transfer embargo reeling around on his brain, that, my friend, is, it just shows how professional this guy is. The fact that he can work through all the transfer whispers, all the rumours, etc., is testament to that guy. So, he'll be back in training next week, and, he will be ready for the next game against Man United under 21s. Maybe not the under 21s match against Man United. Maybe he'll be ready for the Bradford game. Maybe I think maybe Whiteman will be on the bench for the Man United game on the 1st September. But then again, it could be in the squad for Bradford and not involved at all against Man United under 21s. So hopefully he'll be back very, very soon. But I guarantee he will be back for this season. Let's get into our final story now, and let's talk about Andy Butler on trial. So the Free Press is reporting that Darren Moore says former club captain Andy Butler will continue to have an opportunity to earn a contract with Doncaster Rovers. Butler has been on trial with Rovers for almost a fortnight and travelled with the rest of the squad for Saturday's season opener against Blackburn Rovers. Moore says the future of the 36-year-old has not yet been finalised, but confirmed Butler will be back in training with Rovers in the coming week. Butler has to come and get a flavour of where we're at, said Moore to the Free Press. He's been training with us and he'll train again this week. We'll get a game in and see him in that. He just wants to come and get a matchday experience, and I think this is great for him to get that. When players come in on trial, I think it's unfair that you only give them a couple of days. Let them come in and settle down, blow off the cobwebs, and that's what we've done with him. So Butler, of course, was part of a second wave of trialists invited by Moore for pre-season. Of course, former Southampton forward Marcus Barnes has been let go, while Moore is considering allowing the other, a young forward who was on the books of a League One side last season, to come back into training this week. And of course, Rovers will take on Man United under-21s in a friendly on the 1st September as they continue to prepare for the start of the League One campaign. So there we go, that's talking about Andy Butler. So he'll be training with us again this week. And as we know, Marcus Barnes has been let go. So he was the Premier League the forward released by a Premier League club in the summer. So he's not going to be coming in. And to be fair, I think there was a Rovers fan called Dave who said to me that, Marcus Barnes isn't, the best option maybe. So I think that from the sounds of it, I think Marcus Barnes not being in the squad maybe is a good thing. Maybe he should go to a different club. He'll maybe fit in better there. Of course, he spent 5 years from Southampton, released from the club this summer. And now, it's not 100% confirmed, but I'm hearing reports that the other forward, the one who was on the books of a League One club last season, could be Julian Lammy, who was a French forward. I think he was on loan to, I think it's Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon, or I think it was either Wimbledon or Eastleigh. Not too sure exactly one of the two. But I just heard reports of potentially it's Julian Lammy. Not 100% confirmed though. And I haven't seen much about this Julian Lammy guy. So if you've seen highlights of him, comment down below. Is he going to be a good fit? Is he one of those that's going to cause dressing room unrest? Has he got a negative discipline record like the midfielder Watu Kawate that we had on trial firstly? Send in your comments down below if you know much about this Lammy guy, if it is 100% going to be him that could be coming in. But I think with Fajiri up front, I think we do need more options in the forward position. I think it's so clear. We had such a youthful bench against Blackburn yesterday, and there wasn't much room for error for the first team, and there was no, we didn't want to come out of that game with any injuries or any bad performances to the extent of them being taken off very, very early. There were average performances and good performances and great performances yesterday, but there wasn't any really, really, really awful performances, thank God, and there wasn't any injuries, thank God. So we brought on youth for a little bit at the end of that game, but it's very, very clear we need some more squad depth, we need some more reinforcement for that bench, and we do need more players. So I think that, bringing in a forward, an extra forward or two is necessary. Marcus Barnes maybe not the option. Lammy, again, comment down below if you know more about this guy than I do. I might have a look at this guy myself, to be fair. I might see, what he's all about. Obviously, we've still got one more loanee to wait for with the parent club, so hopefully maybe that's a forward. Maybe that's Tulloch from West Brom or Broya from Chelsea's Youth Academy, unless someone else has signed them. But in terms of Andy Butler, he would provide a good veteran option for the squad depth. So I think that he'd be a good backup defender for a season. If we get promoted this season, then we can, for next season, we can invest in more centre-backs to fill the role left by Butler. So Butler's like a temporary veteran gap filler for a season, or maybe two even. So I think Butler's just going to fill the gap if he is going to come in for a 1 year deal. So Butler's training this week. The League One forward on the books of League One last season, he's going to be training again. But Marcus Barnes, he's gone. And from the sounds of it, Barnes going is maybe the best thing. So there we go, guys. That is it from the DRFC Transfer Reports. Obviously, we've got our pre-season friendly with Man United under 21s. Obviously, I'll do a match analysis from the text of that match on Twitter if we get any updates from that. And for now, guys, I'm the CHALL. Please like, comment, subscribe. And for now, goodbye.